This little thing, there's like 3 volumes of it. This is called End of Days, but I bring it up because it's fascinating. So check it out, and I'll put a link in the show notes to his website. Again, this is a long time ago. But what's cool about it is the setup of the story is 2 astronauts arrive on this planet somewhere. They just kind of like materialize, and they meet God and the devil.
Oh shit!
And they're just hanging out there.
Okay.
And basically, the astronauts kind of like skipped time, and they went to the end of the universe, which is like,
the end of the universe.
Yeah, like the apocalypse fully, like say the end of time or something.
Sure.
And it's just really awkward and funny because God and devil are like, wait, what are they doing over there? And they're like, hey, you should get out of here. Like, you're way too early. Like, this is, we're not supposed to. And they do get out, and that's kind of like the end of that thing. But I think it's really interesting to think of. I was talking with my friend about death, and, we do not have time for this whole discussion, but
About
the
death?
the idea of death in my mind, and we'll go back to this, is I think that time basically stops because there is no such thing as time.
Correct.
It's just a construct for us.
Yeah.
Right?
Human construct.
Human construct. And so it's almost like the God and devil in this little graphic novel are out of time.
Oh, interesting.
Right? They're stepping over here.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, look at these people. They're not supposed to even be in this realm, and that's kind of how I took it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I was talking to my friend,
That's so meta.
I guess.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you have to really, and I like, you're you like astrophysics, you like quantum physics.
Quantum physics, yeah.
So I understand why you like this. I like it too. I like that whole notion because for me, I talked about this with a lot of people. Time is a human construct, right? And so sometimes people have this thing called deja vu, right? And someone said to me like, oh yeah, you're assuming that deja vu is something that happened before, but that deja vu could be something that's happening in a different slice of time. If you believe that time is a human construct, so everything that's happening is happening all at once, right? Do you believe that?
I do.
Right?
I have
Because,
thoughts about deja vu, but continue.
right. So it's like, I've always like deja vu was like, oh, I dreamt this. It's like, no, you didn't dream it. There was a glitch in the system and you just felt it or you saw it or whatever because this is going to happen, right? And then you're
Right.
like, oh, it happened past or present. Neither, right? It's a trip. People hear me like, you sound like crazy, but like, I think there's a lot of people like, yeah, I feel that too.
No.
There's so many of us, right? So,
I agree with that exactly because it took a while to kind of accept that, but that is literally what's happening because quantum physics is just a study of the small things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the quantum world, which is the stuff we can't even see, particles are small. That stuff happens where things are going backwards and forwards in time all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Backwards and forwards in quotes in time, but it doesn't seem like that to itself. But
Right.
that being said, our brain's operating like that. And so what deja vu essentially is we're like you said, we're seeing something in the present as a past thing. But it's just like you said, wires crossed because it's like it's both happening at the same time.
Right.
You're like, oh, I put that cup down there like just like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, you did.
Yeah. And
You're still doing it.
doing it.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
You're still doing it.
You're still doing
but
it.
you go like, oh, I did this already.
Right. Because that's a feeling. That's not it's not what really happened. It's just this sense. It's a sense that you have. And you're like, and then you attribute that to it being in the past.
Yeah.
But it's not. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy. And it's so fascinating when that happens, those moments, right? Of deja vu.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're like, oh, that was in the past. And
you like start questioning, you're like, even though you, like we just said what we think it is, it can happen like next, right after we finish this podcast. And we'll still go like, wait, did we come here before?
Right.
And you'll just still do it.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I love
our
it.
brains are weird. And do you think, though, to kind of end the show, do you think that when you die, I have an idea, I'll tell you after you tell me your idea, but what do you think, I guess I'm asking, what do you think happens after you die?
For me, specific, and this is someone who's like, I've been a Buddhist, I've been a Christian, I've been a Muslim, right? And astrophysics, I believe definitely in that. I think I think like right now we're in this form and we have this mind in our brain and we're part of this quote unquote universe. I think we just go into the universe and just become a part of it. You know what I mean? What iteration that looks like, I don't know, right? So when the body decays and all that stuff, you just become a part of it. Like you're a particle or whatever. And so, I don't know. And I think some people believe that we have souls, right? And then the soul goes somewhere else, maybe. Or that's just a different way of saying what I just said. So.
I'm pretty close. Like, I grew up with Christianity and I grew up with like the idea of heaven. And I think that at some point, there's a couple different things where you can draw lines in the sand as a human being, and I think it can affect your life. Like if you go like nothing happens, it's just you take a dirt nap. The people who say that like it's just over. You're worm food or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that changes your outlook kind of on life in a way. But taking that aside, I grew up, with this idea of having some different things that happen, like very specifics, on what should happen. It doesn't matter too much because, again, we're all going to die and we're going to experience it, whatever that might be. But I think that, science-wise, yeah, our particles, energy is neither created nor destroyed. So our energy is going to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, my dad passed 2 years ago, and I felt that energy be gone, and I kind of felt it around still and everything. So I definitely think that yes to that answer. But I think that we are going to have a lot more, if you put in quotes, soul or consciousness attached to those particles, because I just feel that in my gut that we're going to be experiencing something.
Yeah.
And it's not just going to be like we're like off into like many, many different directions. I think there is going to be something.
Well, then
the id.
Yeah. So this is going to be a derivative of that maybe for next time. We talk about like our digital presence after we're gone, right? Our digital.
Ooh, that's a good topic.
Our digital immortality, right? Because especially with how AI works, we can become ourselves in the digital space and never ever cease to exist, right? And then the question is that really us?
That's a great place to end it.
All right.